Hi, people. Let's see, did I get this right? The webinar is now live, recording. All right, so we're on. This is my first time ever doing a Zoom workshop of any sort. So I have been on family Zoom calls, but I'm usually not one of the controls. So bear with me if there's any technical difficulties. We'll get them sorted out. So I'm gonna just kind of wait a little bit for people to get to join. I see Tessie, hi. I see a little hand. See, I don't know all this stuff. I don't know what the, like what am I supposed to press something? I don't know if I can see how many people are in or not. Oh, I see. Okay, so, right. Hi, Maria. Just give a couple minutes for people to sign on. And hopefully this will be an easy technological feat. In the meantime, what you see me doing is pinning an apron like the one I'm wearing, because that's what I'm going to paint today. I'm going to paint an apron, and I also have a canvas tote bag, which I will paint as well. So I'm just going to continue setting it up for a couple minutes, and that'll give people a chance, I think, to get on and to join us. So hopefully you guys are inspired and feel like painting today. Even if you don't have your supplies, this webinar or this Zoom call is going to be posted at a later date. There will be some information online. I have a bad memory, and she didn't tell me when it would be posted, and I don't remember. Anyways, it will be posted, rest assured, and we will make that link public, but it won't be right away. I think she said it's in a month or so from now. So, yeah, so here we go. I've got this one prepared. What I did is I took my nice apron, which is a canvas, cotton canvas. It helps to paint on cotton rather than on any kind of polyester or anything man-made, because the cotton absorbs the paint, the color of it. It might bleed a little bit too. So as you can see, I have it on a piece of cardboard. You're seeing a little bit of sheen here. That's because I taped a plastic bag onto the cardboard, and the reason for that is so that the paint, when I paint on the canvas and it bleeds through, it doesn't, and when it dries, the apron doesn't stick to the cardboard. It'll peel right off if there's a layer of plastic. So yeah, here we go. Here's my apron, which I will have fun painting in just a minute. I guess I could also do a little intro here. The reason we're doing this workshop is with Anthropologie is because Anthropologie is honoring makers and designers and visionaries around the globe, including me. So it's very nice to be considered among that group of people. International Artist Day is actually tomorrow, so that'll be October 25th. And we're just celebrating it a day early. And Anthropologie is asking people to support artists in your area. Go to, if there are any art shows online, or visit their websites, because now, of course, being in the middle of a pandemic, we don't want to encourage people to spread the virus by visiting too closely. So anyways, that aside, just try to support your local artists is the message. Anthropologie has supported me over the last year. Starting in spring 2019, they gave me an exhibition at Gallery 543. I always get the numbers wrong. I think it's Gallery 543, which is on their campus in Philadelphia, in their head office. They have a campus with a number of buildings, and the gallery is it's essentially this giant hall, and it's a wonderful space with tall ceilings. And when you look down the hallway at the very end, there's the cafeteria, the eating space, and And there's this big giant ship that is parked there. It's in a naval yard, so it's a really fantastic, inspiring space to visit. So that was in the spring, and then in December, they sent me and 3 other artists to Miami Art Basel. And what we did is we had a makeshift studio in the hotel that we stayed in Miami. And the 4 of us created, we painted onto furniture and dishes and glasses and really whatever, like all kinds of home products from Anthropologie. And then we had a pop-up studio, or I should say rather a gallery in the design district. And we sold the all the pieces that we made, and the money went to Young Arts Foundation, a charity to promote arts within the States, to stumbling over all my words here, to keep young people interested in the arts and further their artistic endeavors. So, and the money that you spent, the $5 you spent on this webinar, is also that too. It's going to Young Arts as well. So that was in December. We did the Miami Art Basel in January. We launched a whole lot of products. If you go onto anthropologie.com and you search my name, Claire Desjardins, you'll find a number of products available even right now that I collaborated on with Anthropologie. So that was kind of fun. And there was a whole publicity about that, and they did promotions and stuff. So, but they really got my name out there. It was a real honor to work with them. In February, they sent me to Newport Beach in California, where I led my last in-person workshop. We were also painting tote bags and, well, actually not aprons, just tote bags there. So, so this is another version of that same workshop where we were going to paint a tote bag, and that's the plan for today. I know that some of you have already texted me and said that you don't have tote bags or aprons, but that you actually have canvas bags, and that's perfectly fine. You have canvases. You can paint on whatever surface you need to. If you could paint on a pillow slip, I mean, that would work too. It might be a little rough, the paint on your cheek, but it might look nice. So there are no rules, just have fun. That's the goal of this workshop. You know, I feel like that's what I do with my art in general when I'm painting paintings. You know, I'm really not sending out any kind of messages about political things or anything like that. I am really just spreading, hopefully, joy to people. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to start talking about the painting because I don't want to bore you with too many details. So that's my big intro. I'll let you know about my setup here. I have, as you can see behind me, I have a lot of acrylic paints. In my studio here, I have hard body paints. I have fluid and liquid acrylics here. So those are what I will use. Because I'm painting on fabric though, I am going to mix one other product. And I bought these little pots. I did pre-mix a whole bunch of colors. Never enough, of course, because I always want more. But I'm going to mix one other pot. I'm still missing some colors. I left a few pots empty too, because sometimes it's nice to mix the existing colors. It tends to soften the composition if you use colors that are that contain each other in them. So I'm just going to step out of frame for 1 second because I left all my extra cups on the side. If I come back. Okay, so what I'll do is show you how I mix the fabric paint. Those of you who are painting on a canvas can skip the It's called GAC 900. I'll show you here. See, there you go. It's made by Golden. And this, if you heat set it afterwards, will make the paint really stay in the fabric. I'm not really expressing this very well, but anyways. So here we go. I thought I had opened this earlier, but I did not. Okay, so I'm just going to make a tiny little bit of this limey green because I have another green already. I also need to do a yellow. So actually I'm going to do 2 little pots to add to my existing collection of little pots filled with colors. I will take some paint, give it a good shake first. I haven't been in this studio for quite a while, so some of my paints have settled. And so if you read the instructions on the GAC 900, it says to mix your acrylic paints half paint and half GAC 900. So here we go. We'll do that. Give it a good shake. Tighten this so that nothing leaks. I think some of these pots that I bought online, I think some of them maybe leak a little bit. Then I have a little thing that I do. See, I've got a nice sort of limey. Let you see that. I shake it until it looks fairly even. Okay. And then we have this nice limey color. So I'm going to take a little dab of that, and just for myself to make it easy, I like to put a little dab of it on the lid so that when I'm looking down onto my paint table, I can easily and quickly identify the color I'm using. So now I need a yellow, and I'm going to put aside this one here. I'm going to use an Indian yellow hue, in part because I have a lot of it. But I also just love this color. I love a lot of colors. Part of what I love about the colors is how they go together. So I'm going to put like half. Take a lid. I'll take the little bit that's on my finger. I'll put it on the lid here so that I can, again, see the color that's in the container. It is a clear container, so obviously I can see from the side. But sometimes when you're just standing up and looking down onto your paints, it's like rapid fire. You know, you've got it in your head, you want a certain color, you just can scan the tops, scan the lids easily and see. So now I have a nice selection, nicer selection. Like I said, it's never really quite enough, but I'm going to get started. And I will probably mix a few colors as I go. I've left a few of these containers empty so that I can do that. I can take 2 colors that are existing, mix them together into one pot. It may get a bit messy. For that reason, too, you might want to make sure that you have, I put a drop cloth down here. Just make your area, it's nice if you can make a mess without worrying about it. So you can arrange your area accordingly. So let's start. I've got my apron here. I hope you can see this well enough. I'm going to start with navy blue. I find it's a very grounding color. It's quite liquid, by the way. I have many different size brushes, but I'm going to start with a wider brush. In fact, start with this one. It's a soft bristle, but I think it'll hold, because this is so wet, so fluid, I think it'll hold the paint nicely. And I'm not really sure. Maybe something. I'm going to just do a few streaks across, and then across over the pockets too. I like the design to go across everything. Let's see. Oh yeah, I didn't do a very great job of telling you everything that I have here because one of the things I have are pots of water, okay? So I only put about this much water in each pot, and I like to keep a pot for each color. So in other words, I have a navy blue brush. I will put it in a pot of water, which now that water is very, let's see if you can see that. See that? It's navy blue water. The advantage to having different pots for different colors is that your colors don't get muddy as quickly. They do get muddy eventually. Also, you can use the water later as a wash. So yeah, that's kind of fun. And you can reuse the brushes without having to go to the sink each time. I'm just going to close up a little blue, navy blue pot. And I think something that could be fun, we grab this out, is to use some water on that. So here, I'm going to pull this up so you can see. Oh, I like the spray to be kind of misty. Here it's actually really sharp. Ooh. See if I can get that. Oh, that's better. So, see if I do a soft, just like a softness. It gets all wet. It gets more fluid. It becomes almost like watercolor. Okay. So you see those straight lines that were kind of, here I left it. But here I sprayed it. So here it's nice and soft, right? And you can see the drips. The water is what makes it especially messy around my studio. So, but I love the effect of water. I love that watercolor fluid feeling. So really, what I'm thinking now is I'm thinking the composition, I'm thinking of the colors. I'd like to have some movement. But also, I want to think of the colors and what goes together, what works well. I have this beautiful turquoise that I mixed earlier, so I'm going to open it up. And what I might do, in fact, is I think I might actually just spray this first. The AC, I don't know if you can hear it, the AC unit just stopped. It's much quieter here all of a sudden. I'm spraying the surface so that it's wet. And the reason I'm doing that, and I'm moving the water around with my hand, because you'll see when I paint on it, it'll be nice and flowy. So let's see, I think I like the same brush that I took last time for this. I'm creating a base, right? So let's just have a shape here. It doesn't really matter what. It's just really to get something down. And the paint goes a long way, let me tell you. So I'll try to show you after each step. So I have the light blue paint. It's like a sky blue, so I'm putting that in its own water. And I can mix the paints, those paintbrushes that are similar in the paint color that I used. I can mix those in the same waters. So that if I have a turquoise and a sky blue brush, they can both go together in the same water. Okay, so here you see what I did. This is the part that was wet. And you can see the effect I get. It's like a watercolor. And here it's dripping. So yeah, I'll just keep painting. So I'm going to do a little bit on this side, I think. I think it would be fun. Maybe I'll introduce some red. Or, no, that nice limey green that I did when you joined me. I think that's a really beautiful color. Because the pots are small, I'm not using my big paintbrushes, but if I had a bigger pot, I would probably use the bigger paintbrushes. See, okay. a nice lime green. Oh, it's a beautiful color. It's a happy color. That's what I like. My painting really, for me, is a form of therapy in a sense. It kind of is what keeps me sane. And I think especially during COVID, it's something that I've been able to go to, and it's consistent. It's not, it's always there, is what I mean to say. So it's there for me, if that makes sense. And I can go into my own world and enjoy it and get lost a little bit and forget about all the troubles of the world. It's really nice to be able to do that. As I'm sure that many of you can attest to. I want to keep holding it up in between layers so that you can see. I think what I'll go for next. Oh, you see, as it's getting, because it's wet, it's the cotton is shrinking a little bit, so it's pulling on my canvas. I gotta just make sure that I keep it nice and smooth and tight so that I can keep painting. And I'm gonna add something really fun, some hot pink. Not too much, but this is much thicker, the consistency. It was a different paint company that I used for this particular color. Let's see. So yeah, this is starting to look very Miami. Brings me back to my time there in Art Basel. It's such a nice time. The other artists are worth looking up, by the way, the artists who were there. One is Bernice Kelly. She is a Sunday painter on Instagram, I think it is. And then there's Florence Balducci in Paris, or in France, rather. She's not in Paris. She's in a small town in France. And Susan Maddox, who is Hawaiian, but lives in Southern California. All three very different artists. And the four of us together, it was like magic. It was an amazing experience. So here you go. See, and I could keep going and going. I might just let it dry a little bit so that the next layer doesn't always bleed out or bleed into. I actually don't mind a little bit of the bleeding into. I think it's very beautiful. Like, here you go. Look at this area. Like the pink is bleeding into the sky blue, and here also. That there's something that happens. It's a bit magical. Also here, look at this. I like to look at different parts of my paintings. I think it's what draws me in. I think it's what draws other people in. So I'm going to leave this for now. I'm going to put it aside and put it over behind me. And then I'm going to start working on the bag. So here, I wanted to show you what I did. It's just a regular piece of cardboard that I had cut up from a box. And again, I put the plastic on it so that it doesn't, this canvas doesn't stick to my box, my cardboard. It's much easier to paint on a firm surface, I find. So what I'm going to do is just quickly tape the bag to the cardboard. It's just a regular grocery store bag. Fold it so that it's nice and snug. Put that there. Here. And it's not perfect, but it'll do. It's just for a tote bag. So then I'm going to take it. You see how it's, I didn't leave it flapping around anyway. It's nice and snug, like it's wrapped like a present. So then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it into my tote bag. Okay, it's got a rounded corner, so I can't really quite get right to the bottom, but that's okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this side snug. How am I going to do that? I'll do it with clothes pegs. So, pegs off there, falling off my head. Okay, so I've got some nice clothes pegs here. I will just wrap this around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think, what will I do with the back side? I'll stick this strap in here, and I don't really want this front strap flapping around the front, in front of my painting. So I'm going to, actually I'll use clothes pegs to hold that back. So here we go. It is flapping around in the back, but that's okay. I'll just be careful. If it goes on the side, I guess it'll get paint on the side and maybe it'll look nice. So that's so a lot of what I do is serendipitous. So things that just happen as I go. But I have a nice smooth surface to paint on now. So let's try something different. I'm going to use the magenta. I made this gorgeous magenta paint. Give it a little shake first. See how I'm doing for time? Okay. And what I'm going to do is actually just pour a little bit. See, let's scoop that out with my finger. Probably should be wearing gloves doing this. The reason I did that is because I desperately want to show you using a big fat brush. And I want to have fun with it. Okay. The canvas tends to absorb the paint or the water. I'm actually going to spray this with water because I do love that flowy effect. It's noisy, isn't it? Shake some of that water off. See, I can hold it, and as I spray it, the water obviously is going in the direction of gravity. Of course, now I've got a great big purple puddle under there, which means that if I put this down, it's going to get purple as well. It'll become purple. I think I'm just going to live with that, though. Maybe what I'll do is I'll later paint the other side, and I just won't worry about it, will I? So there. That. Let's try. I've got a really pretty. It's like almost like a pale periwinkle blue. So that's one of my favorite colors. I can't really hold it towards. Well, here I can hold this towards the camera. You can see the color. It's beautiful, isn't it? That. Look, I can sprinkle my color on it. Ooh, I kind of like that. A lot of different techniques you can use. You can also take your brush, load your brush up and spray it. The only thing is if you're doing that, you might want to be careful about the walls around you, especially if you're not doing this in an art studio. If you're doing it in a makeshift kitchen studio or something like that, you may end up with splatter on the wall. So you could do a Jackson Pollock kind of design. Since I love navy blue, and I love navy blue with these colors, I'm going to use a little bit of that. Oh yeah, see, I left my brush out, which is not a great idea because acrylics dry very quickly. So I'm going to have a purple water right here. And you can't see it, it's off camera, but there's a purple water there. Let's see, maybe I'm going to try a slightly skinnier brush. So this one is, I don't know what number this is. I don't have the glasses on my head. It's a smaller brush. It's about the thickness, less than the thickness of my thumb. So maybe I'm going to just do some happy little shapes. trying to look like a little animal in there because that some of the water splattered, so that looks like an eye on a seahorse. Was not intended. In fact, now that I see it, I have to undo it because that's one of my rules is that I don't like to actually see a thing in my paintings. So let's see. We can do repeated patterns. They can be interesting also. Dots. And I always think that they're more interesting if they're not perfect. So don't worry about making things too clean and too neat. Go for the mess. Allow yourself to be free and creative. And I think you'll find you'll have more fun that way. And the other thing is, like I said, the goal here is to have fun. And some people will, even though they want to do it to have fun, they want to have fun and do a great job and make something that's perfect. But don't put that pressure on yourself. Just allow the process to take you where it's going to go. And I think you'll find that you end up in some interesting places. I will add a little bit more, I'll put some yellow, because yellow and purple are opposite colors. So sometimes what can happen when you put a little bit of an opposite color somewhere in your painting, it just makes it makes the colors pop a little bit. People always ask me, what do I do to make the colors pop? Well, that is one of my things that I like to do. If you don't know what opposite colors are, be sure to Google them. Another thing I like to do is I like to put, insofar as colors, I like to put colors that are in the same family together. Same family, but not the same. So, for example, I might put, two greens together, like these two colors. You see that there's like a yellowy green and a Kelly green. On its own, I find this is a bit hard sometimes. But if you put it next to a yellowy green, all of a sudden, it does something else. It becomes softer. So here's what I've got so far. Oops. And that's my tote bag so far. I might add a couple more colors just for fun since I'm getting into it. Let's see, a little bit of red maybe. Good thing I'm wearing an apron because this apron is going to be painted by my hands, be finger painted, which is another technique actually I have used in the past, is finger painting. When I used to give in-person workshops, I used to do a demonstration where part of it was in fact finger painting. I know it's something that we did as kids, but it also can look really beautiful too on grown-up painting. Let's see, just a little bit of red, not too much. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot of color. Sometimes it just takes a suggestion, a little bit, and that's how it takes you a lot further to have a little bit than to have a lot necessarily. I also leave space. I like to leave a bit of white space. I find that makes the painting breathe a little better. There's an artist whose work I love, and her Instagram name is Zebra Deborah, and she's from Stockholm, and she does these beautiful fluid works. You could look her up as well. Another really good artist whose work I love. Let's see. I feel like this needs to dry a little bit. Let's see how that apron is doing. I bring my apron back and I'll just trade it for my tote bag. You can see this is starting, the cotton is starting to get tighter because it got wet. So I'm going to actually loosen it so that my board is flat. So I'm just undoing both sides a little bit so that if you're painting on a canvas, like a stretched canvas, sometimes they can get a little bit billowy, what I call billowy. They're, they lose their tightness, their tautness. And what you can do when that happens is spray it on the back side with some water. I use a spray bottle and maybe a sponge to move the water around. And you'll notice that the cotton will seize up and it gets tighter again. So I was just reminded of that. See this? Okay, let's get that clear there. Let's see. Maybe I was talking about putting the two greens together, so maybe I'm going to try that. So you can see it. My table gets a little messy as I work. Okay, I need a green brush. I'm going to try with the round brush for this one. I'm not terribly concerned about staying in the lines or anything too formal like that. I do love this green. Oh, that's nice. It's I know a guy called Aaron Hoey, and this I always call this green Aaron Hoey green because he used to love this green in everything. But just a pop of it, he'd say. So it's in my mind, that's what I call it. You might have names for certain colors because of associations you make with them. So here we're going to have a green pot, green water. I like to put lots of different colors. Oh, I know what else I would like to show you. I would like to mix some colors. Here, I've got an empty container. I'm going to take the green I just used, in fact, see if I can pour it without making a terrible mess on the table. Oops. Okay, here we go. I managed. And then I'm going to add another color. As you recall, when we first started talking, I said that sometimes it's nice to mix colors that are already in a painting to get, like, you get two colors together, and you mix them, and you get a third color, which I think is really nice. So I'm going to mix, I'm mixing the Kelly green, or the Aaron Hoey green, and the yellow green, and I may add some white, but I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm gonna shake this together to see the mad scientist. It's not as different from the original Kelly green. I think there's a lot more Kelly green than there was of the yellow. I'm gonna add some white to it. I want it to be different enough. Okay. So it'll be more of a mint green almost. When I'm painting, I usually use quite a bit of white. It lightens up the painting nicely. Oh, I need to really shake this. So I think the difference is going to be subtle because I put quite a bit of the Kelly green in here. But there's a difference. I can see it already. Okay, so here are the two colors I mixed. I added some white and I ended up with this. So do you see? Together, they kind of work together. Then I'm going to use the brush I used, but sitting in the green water. I'm going to use that to apply this paint. Ooh. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so that. Again, I'm doing repeated patterns. I'm going to do some shapes, brush strokes along here. These repeated patterns can be kind of cool. They don't have to all be the same. In fact, they're probably more interesting if they're not. do that. So I wanted to show you with a different tool as well, which is kind of fun. So let me find, excuse me. See this? I do believe this is intended for people who work with clay. What it is a like a palette knife, except that it's made of rubber. So that's kind of a fun tool to use to spread paint on, and you can use hard body paint for this too. It will create a texture which is harder to wear as clothing, so you might want to take that into consideration. But if you're just experimenting and you're not worried, why not? Let's see. Oh, I haven't looked at the red in here yet. See, I'm trying to keep my colors, rather than painting on top of the colors, I'm trying to paint in areas that haven't yet been painted on. Because the paints are wet, if I were to put the red on top of the green or the blue, it would muddy up those colors. So because I would like to keep my colors quite pure, I'm going to just, I think, just find some places where there is no paint, it's just the canvas still. Okay. So you can use this as like a knife almost, like a butter knife. Not really getting the effect I wanted, but that's okay because it's something I can play with, and I can do other things too. I will add, I do have this like very pale pink. So I'm going to add a bit of that. I'm going to use my pink brush that I used for my fluorescent paint earlier. And this, just dry off a little bit onto the canvas. I'm going to put some of this next to the red because pink is red and white, right? So I think it's kind of interesting. Oops, I don't want to put too much, and I maybe did. That's okay. I'm quite forgiving with myself, in case you hadn't already noticed. And essentially, I could keep going and going. And it's getting more crowded on my apron. And if I weren't doing it for a video, maybe I would have already stopped, if I'm to be really honest. Oh, I know this is that I can't stop seeing things I want to do. So let me just try a little bit of this everywhere. And oh, I love this color. It's such a pretty color. It's very beautiful. So I'm being generous and just letting it flow around my apron. Okay. And I might do. Ooh, boy, did I ever get a lot of hinges there. I'm going to use it though. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to let it drip. Here. And it's because there's other colors as well. It is a little bit muddy, but it's like a gray, which is kind of nice. Softening all the colors by spraying them. Anyways, I think you get the picture, I hope. What am I doing for time? 1:44. So I'll put my glasses on and check to see if there are any messages. Because of course I can't. Let's have a quick look and see. How do I do this? How do I see the comments? I don't really actually even know. Oh, there we go. No, I don't want to disconnect. You know what? We'll check out the comments later because obviously I don't know how to do this. And we will get back to you on that. We can also, I can post on my Instagram, which is Claire_Desjardins_art. I can post, I can address some of the issues or questions that you may have had about what we were doing here today. I just want to make sure, let's see, I've got some notes here, my cheat sheet to help me. I just make sure I said everything I was supposed to say. I would love to see the work that you have come up with. And if you are so inclined, please post your paintings, whatever you do, on Anthropologie and use the hashtag Art of Anthropologie. And that way we will see what you made. You can also use hashtag Claire Desjardins, my name. And that way I personally will see it as well. So I hope that I'm leaving you inspired. I hope that this was helpful and that maybe you'll be able to get inspired to create something wonderful, something great for yourself. And I hope to see you again sometime soon. Check us out on we'll see you on social media. Okay, bye. Now let me see if I can figure this part out. Love you, Claire. Oh, thanks. Love. Oh, nice. Love this. Thanks. Lots of nice comments, you guys. Oh, here's the chat. I just found it. Welcome to online learning. Yes, I'm learning how to do this. Okay, well, I'm still going to address these when, Yasmin, you were here. She's a friend of mine from way back. Okay, guys, I have to go. Oh, so nice of you. Maria Sidley, I don't know how to say your last name. Madeline Bertrand Garant. Nice. Thank you. How do I stop it? Webinar settings, disconnect audio. That's not right. Oh God, we may have the world's longest Zoom call here. Oh, stop video. That's pretty straightforward. There's an icon right there. Okay. Oops.